game for you today, Jeff. It's the Bakersfield College Renegades, and we are on the road, as we said, College of the Canyons. And let's talk about our Renegades for a minute. I think anybody that's been watching us faithfully this season has known, yeah, it's been a tough road. Yes, we're 0-4. We're trying to look at some bright sides of things, and the one thing that we can draw from is that the 4 teams we've played in our preseason, our pre-league, well, including last week's game in our first conference game, they're all very, very good football teams.
Combined record, 15 wins, 1 loss for those teams, and that really says as much about it as anything. Steve Lynch, the statistician for Bakersfield College, pointed out the other day that the record, now Canyons is 4-0. The cumulative record of their opponents, 3-12. So you can tell the caliber of the schedule is vastly different. That being said, Canyons has gotten it done. You know, when you're 4-0, you know, that's not an accident. You've got to be pretty good. Last week they really they were Canyons was, you know, Bakersfield had a chance to win last week. They lost 39-35. They had 2 leads in the fourth quarter, couldn't hold them. You know, a kick return really hurt them, about a 95-yarder down to the 1-yard line that set up with a winning score, and then a fumble by the new quarterback, Dalton Gallus, at the 1-yard line on a bad exchange from center. Not really a bad exchange, just a mix-up on the exchange. That cost them a touchdown. That's 14 points. You wind up losing by 4. That's huge. Canyons played a team that hadn't won a game all year. 0-3 Pasadena looked like they were the weakest team in the league that Bakersfield's in. And what happens? Pasadena has a 10-point lead with 4.5 minutes to go, and a 63-yard touchdown pass gets them close, and an interception return for a touchdown with 3.5 minutes to go, and Canyons pulls that game out. So, you know, but Coach Chudy talks about you got to be able to finish games. Canyons did that last week. Bakersfield didn't. That's the upshot of it.
That's the voice of Jeff Evans, pregame show here for the Bakersfield College Renegades. As we talked about, they're 0-4 coming in. We're playing a 4-0 team in College of the Canyons. Let's go back, as we always do. 7 nights ago, we were at home hosting Allen Hancock. What a game. We had the debut of Dalton Gallus, as you mentioned, but let's talk about that game specifically so we can kind of recap and refresh our memory on where we most recently were.
Well, the good thing about Dalton Gallus, you could tell a little there was some nerves there before the game, and you could kind of tell that. And he had a turnover early, his second possession for BC, he fumbled. But after that, he played a very clean game. He threw for 253 yards, threw for 4 touchdowns. Bakersfield scored 35 points. That's the positive. Bakersfield had scored only 28 points in its first 3 games total, and they got 35 points in 1 game last week against Hancock. Admittedly, Hancock is not as strong as the other 3 opponents. But the fact is, Dalton Gallus came in and really kind of helped trigger an offense that was much more effective. Now, Bakersfield College, Coach Chudy has been very careful not to put try not to overdo it with Dalton Gallus. They're saying, hey, it's an 11-man team, 11-man on offense and defense. You can't put too much stock in one guy. But Bakersfield desperately needed some kind of a spark on offense, and they got that last week from Dalton Gallus. Now let's see if he can clean up even the turnovers a little bit more today, because that's the challenge. The turnovers have bit this team every game this year, and they've got to. That's the one thing. If you don't clean that up, it's just going to be. The year just gets worse and worse. And, right now Bakersfield has never, ever been 0-5 in a season before. So they're 0-4 now. That's only the second time that's happened. And it was 1940 when that happened last. So
that was going to be my segue, Jeff.
Yeah,
we're on the precipice of possibly some history here that we do not want to make. Speaking with Jeff Evans, our pregame show, College of the Canyons. We're here in Santa Clarita, California. Just a perfect Saturday afternoon, a 1 o'clock kickoff. And we're experiencing a tough season here. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Jeff Chudy, Kirk Boyer's interview with head coach Jeff Chudy in a moment. Back right here on News Talk 1180 KERN, the new